Alrighty, g'day, Stu from UAVFutures. Welcome to our weekly FPV drone live stream. Happy flying. First things first, let's go through some audio checks. Then I'm going to be talking all things drones, all things FPV, and most importantly, just hanging out, having a good time. We've got a lot to discuss today. It might get a little bit spicy. We've got some really cool topics that I will share. And of course, we'll talk a little bit about mental health because you guys are important. You deserve to be happy and have a fantastic life. So we're going to be talking about that as well. But let's see who is in here in the chat. Let me double check some of my settings. People saying loud and clear. My phone is making some buzzing noises. I'm going to have to check that. Actually getting some up-to-date minute information about some things about FPV. I can see we've got Johnny DRC here in the chat as well. We've got Sparuni. We've got Happy Flyer RC. We've got Jeff in here. So a whole bunch of amazing people. The UAVFutures family. It is where the best part of my working week starts. It's a great start to my Monday morning. We don't do daylight savings where we live, so it might be a little bit different to usual. But this time, week in, week out, 10 o'clock for me in Australia on a Monday. It's just where I get to connect with you guys, hang out, and talk all things FPV. Now, before we kick it off, I do want to mention I got an email, or I guess a message on my Discord. This was from Johnny DRC. And he said, why does his name come up there different? It's probably a YouTube setting. You need to go in and figure out how you want your name displayed. I don't know what setting that you've changed. And the other part of that is if you're sending me a message on Discord, it's pretty tricky. I try to keep my messages like to certain platforms. So if you have a message, it's probably going to get missed on Discord, but like DIY FPV is a much better place to send me a message. I will check that. Where a lot of times over on Discord, I will miss them. So if you send me a message on Discord, I'm sorry if somebody sent that and I haven't responded. Anyway, Johnny DRC saying it is 5 p.m. in California. We've got Frederick in here as well. Let's go through what we've got to talk about today because I've seen a little bit of spicy conversations about the future of FPV. Have we reached the pinnacle? Is it downhill from here? And I'm specifically referring to FPV digital systems. When it comes to our video systems that we use, is it good news? Is it bad news? We've got some new things on the horizon. We've got some new things that just dropped, like the Protos system. We're going to be talking about all the pros and cons and basically which system should you get for you and what does that mean for the future of FPV. And I guess on the flip side, I'm feeling pretty optimistic. I'm feeling pretty positive about it. But that's kind of how I look at this hobby anyway. I'm very, very grateful for everything that we get to do here. We have a new drone world speed record, or an unofficial one. I'm going to talk about that. It is going at like over 350 miles per hour. Like the unofficial stats that are in the GPS and stuff from this video that I want to talk about. It is next level crazy. It is really, really cool. We've got some new little drones as well. So the Mario 25, we're going to talk about that from SpeedyBee. We're going to be talking about the future of DJI in America and if it's actually going to be around come December, past that, what that means for DJI pilots in the USA. I want to talk about all the video systems actually. So the pros and cons of each of them and which one you should get. And the big one, we're going to be having a look at some Protos Ascent footage. Talking about that, what that system means, and should you get that cheaper entry one. A couple of questions about DVR, and then if we have time, my printer's behind me, but I've basically been printing non-stop. So many like cool little things that I've been making that my kids have been having an absolute blast with as well. All right, let's kick it off. Thank you for everybody. If this is your first time here, welcome to the FPV Weekly live stream. It's just like where we talk about all these things drone related, have a good time. And the most important part, it is you. We always start our live streams with a little discussion about mental health. Why? Because it's important and you never know when these words truly might make a difference to somebody's life. And I know what it's like. I want to mention that I suffered from some depression in the past, and thankfully I'm in a much better place now. But I haven't forgotten what that is like, and I don't want anybody who is watching this to feel alone or isolated. If you're watching this and saying, "Shoot, just get onto the drone stuff," I'm really happy that you aren't affected by any of those mental health issues. But this might be going out to that one person that needs to hear this to say, you are valued, you are cared about, you are unique, you are special, and I really am glad that you are here. Please, you can reach out to me. The biggest thing that I ever did that made a difference in my life was go and talk to somebody about it professionally. It's not weak to speak. And like we say, I say this all the time. If you broke your leg, you go to the doctor. If your head is feeling not quite right or maybe a little bit broken as well, please go and speak to somebody there. So the great thing is too, FPV, even though it is mainly an online community where so many of us connect and share and talk about our love of these crazy little flying robots, these little drones, they are some of the nicest people you will ever meet. The FPV community is amazing, and I'm so proud of each and every one of them. And if you'd like to join an amazing community, actually, this is why I built this website. This actually wasn't planned as the segue, but it's working quite well here. Go head over to DIY FPV. Like, this is the best place online for so much FPV related, not only content, but also a huge feature. You can join the map here, and then you can go and find other pilots in your local area. You can send them a message, go meet up, go for a fly, and connect with people. So this is why I built this website. It truly is to create a positive experience for you pilots out there to have an amazing time. When I started FPV, none of this stuff existed. It wasn't even an online community. So this is sort of everything that I have wanted. And now here we are. I never knew that I'd be here on a Monday morning talking to you guys. I used to be a school teacher, and now I'm here talking about drones, having a good time. So anyway, let's move on. That was me just saying you are valued and you are cared about, and you are not alone. So please don't feel like you have to suffer in silence. Go and talk to somebody, and our community is there ready. I'm sure everybody in the chat as well will say just how awesome FPV is and welcome you to the hobby. And let me know too, what have you guys been flying? What have you been doing? What products are you eyeing off? What is sitting in your shopping cart ready to purchase? What are you sort of umming and ahhing about? Or maybe you've ordered something recently and you're like, yes, that is exactly, I cannot wait for that to get here and to rip that around. Man, it is an absolute scorcher here today in Brisbane, in the city that I live in. Okay. Let me just catch up on the chat here. We've even got XJet, the legend himself. The orange man moved down to, I guess, from my very close to my hometown, a town called Orange there. So shout out to XJet. Hope he's doing well. He says, I'm not nice. I'm a grumpy old man. I disagree, Bruce. You're a very kind individual who helped me get started on my FPV journey. So thank you very much for so many of your videos that I have watched. If you haven't seen XJet or Bruce from RC Mortar Reviews with his weekly, not so weekly news, episode number 25, or that's my best Kiwi accent right there. All right, let's talk about this as well. And Bruce, I'd like to know your thoughts about what you have seen from the Cadex Protos drone and what you think about the Ascent system. I guess a cheap, I'm sure it's been everywhere over the past week, a cheap digital entry system with some pros and cons. Main pro is probably the price. A con is it's not as good as the other systems. But I'd love to know what you think. Maybe you've got one that you've been testing. But let's have a look at this one. This is pretty cool. So this video popped up the other day, and I'm so glad to see that it looks like it is going viral. It's always good for things in the drone-related space that are a positive light to be, pushed out there more to the community, and so more people that gets exposed to this, to the wider community, I should say, that I really like. Let's jump over here, and I'm going to put this in the show notes later. You'll be able to look on the description if you're watching this afterwards. But we have this right here. So this is called the Comeback World's Fastest Drone V3. So this is from the channel Luke Maximo Bell. I don't know if that's his actual name, but essentially they have created, and I'm going to say unofficially, the world's fastest drone, because I don't know if they've got it checked by the Guinness World Records. I watched this entire video. It started out, I was like, oh, this is cool, and like, it's amazing. So I highly recommend watching this after we watch my stream, but he goes through the process. And I guess the part that is really exciting, I wanted to just watch this flight, and it does go, I've got the sound off, so I shouldn't get too many copyright strikes, but it goes through the whole thing of like how they designed this, and it's a really well put together video. And the part that I started to, we have like even water cooled ESCs. So where is his design? Just here where like he starts designing little pumps and putting them together, and this is the little block that's going to be cooling the ESC. Oh, I'm getting some, I think I'm getting some DOA FPV messages. That's what, let me know if that notification is coming through. He's checking out all these printers. Like, there is so much design in here, and every kilometer that you want to go faster, every bit of speed that you're trying to gain gets exponentially more and more difficult to try to achieve. And this was my favorite part. What a simple way to do some aerodynamic testing is they've just put it on a little pivot point and then drive along with a little model out the window and just hold it out there and see how it goes. So I thought this was incredible. Just the simple solutions to an engineering problem. I really, really appreciated that. So, and it's crazy that like a dad and son just worked together and did an amazing job. So definitely go check them out. They've got a channel. It's worthy of having a look at. You'll learn a lot, and it's also a really fun little video. And it goes for like 15 minutes. So go check that out. I'm not going to show you the final flight, and I haven't told you the final speed because I don't want to spoil it for anybody who does want to do that. But it is going, and I'm going to say this like over, and there's still more to go, so it's faster than this, but over 580 kilometers per hour, which is like around 360 kilometers plus. Like you're going to get some more specifics and things right there. So it's pretty wild. And a strange coincidence, if somebody's good at maths, when I had a look at their stats on the screen, the kilometers and the miles are both palindromes. So like the top speed in kilometers is also a top speed in when it's in miles is also a palindrome. I don't know, maybe like a bit of ADHD part of my brain was like, wow, that's a strange coincidence. Anyway, that was a really cool video. Go check it out. I'll put it in the link if you're watching this afterwards. Anyway, actually, I'm going to post it in the chat right now as well. Just make sure you're watching this video too. Okay. Here we go. So that should be there in the chat as well. Go check that out. You'll have a great time. Moving on, and this is the next thing that I want to talk about. I guess I'm going to talk a little bit about. I'll come back to the Mario Mini 25, which is a new drone from SpeedyBee, which I'm actually quite excited about. We'll talk about that a little bit. But we're going to jump in and let's talk about. Let me just rearrange my show notes here. Let's talk about Cadex straight away. Let's talk about the Protos, what that means. That's this little drone right here. We'll also be talking about the Ascent system, and then I've seen a few reviews on it. Cadex has a little bit of work to do, and the interesting part is, like, I think it's $359. That is USD. I should have a look actually. Yep, here we go. Jumping over here. So obviously it's going to be a little bit different in the States depending on how you're going to get it and with tariffs and things like that. So I've got some footage right here that I want to show you. XJet says that drone has issues. Down-facing props are great from taking off from grass if you crash. Yeah, it can be a little bit different to find a little way to launch from. I agree. Let's see. I'm going to show you some footage of this right now. So if you don't know, where is this? I'll turn this sound down to, not that I think it records sound. But this is sort of what you can expect when you're flying around with this. Now this one is on, this is Stickman Steve flying, so we can tease his flying all we like. And probably the exciting part is that this is a $360 system that has drone, radio, goggles, charger, batteries, as well as a few little extras like carry, all the other bits that no one really cares about. And it is doing some things differently. So you notice here, we are really flying behind ourselves a little bit. Steve's trying to get it to drop out, and it will handle breakup a little bit. I've seen some videos. I think other people have I have a version. I don't like this is a problem too. We're gonna have to get in and talk to CADX about this. I don't have any information on what my firmware version is, like how to upgrade it, any of that sort of stuff that is not here, because I've seen Andy RC's, his doesn't go black and white. This one will go black and white when it goes into focus mode. I don't know what that means in the future. I don't know what is the better algorithm. I don't know why they've decided to change that. Like the actual marketing from CADX, it's a whole another kettle of fish that we'll get into. But this system here is $350 for everything. And the important part, I guess the part that I really care about, the drone itself, is this is not a great flying little craft. It's like a cheap, it's not designed for FPV pilots like myself. However, the important part that I think people need to think about is how is this video system going to hold up, and what does that mean in the future? XJet says you get a $20 discount if you buy from the USA, but $3.39 if you buy from Japan. I think if you're in the USA and you buy it, it's trying to get the tariffs down a little bit, which is why they give you a discount so you don't have to pay so much in tariffs. That's the only reason that I can think of. They're trying to help the USA customers out just a little bit. Okay, so we're going to talk about this now, why this is flying around. Actually, I can probably just leave this going. This system here, I've seen a lot of people like getting hyped for it. I've seen a lot of people getting upset for it. And some people are kind of like disappointed that CADX has come out with a new system. Now, thankfully, with all that heat, when I did my original video, I actually really like this system, and I'm really grateful that I can, with, you know, hand on my heart, be like, you know what? I didn't even put an affiliate link. There was nothing like that in my video. So it doesn't affect my life whether somebody buys this or doesn't buy that. So you can go and watch my video. You don't have to worry about any of that. I think Madstech didn't do an affiliate or anything with CADX either. This was just my impressions of flying around with this craft and what that meant for the future of FPV. So everything that I'm about to say is just my thoughts and opinions. I've got no skin in this game besides caring that you have a good time with FPV. And I think that's kind of shown through with everything that I've done with FPV. Being in this hobby for a decade, being excited for people flying. So I'm just going to pause this right now because I am struggling to, my ADHD is like, I need a still image so I can talk about this. Let's get the Protos on the screen though. Okay. So pros and cons of this system, and then really should you get it? So the big one, who should get this? Nobody should buy this if you already have a digital system. If you have hdzero, if you have Walksnail Avatar, if you have the DJI system, this is not for you. This is really a system designed for newcomers coming into the hobby. And I think the part that I was a little bit shocked about was the animosity towards like, oh, well, this system sucks. Why do I, this is not what I want. But it's like, this is not made for you. Now, I've seen a few videos where people say, hey, I don't recommend this. Not so much on the actual flight, but like what that means for the future. So I'm going to break that down as well. So if you are a CADX user and it is the CADX Walksnail system, I've seen some sentiment online where the CADX Walksnail people are upset that this system is now working. Now, I don't really, like the CADX Walksnail system is 3 years old, maybe. That's like a guess, like 3+ years old. And I don't think it's, if I had a company and I made a product and then I bought out a different system that is doing something different at a cheaper price, like these things are not always compatible. So just because this system is here doesn't mean that the old system is disappearing. Again, of course, I have no idea what CADX is. CADX sends me zero information. They are very poor at communicating what is actually happening and giving us an understanding of what they're meaning for the future. But if you have a CADX system, I still think it's going to be, you're going to have an amazing time. Now, look, I could be wrong. I could be eating my hat and they've got plans and they're like, oh, they're just going to retire this system. Now, I saw someone else say, and look, I don't want to start any beef with any other YouTubers or anything like that. everybody that I've watched this system, I fully trust their opinions and what that's just their feelings and thoughts about these systems. One of them was talking about like a dance partner, like, well, it's like if you're dancing over here and then all of a sudden we're moving over and you come home and your partner's dancing with this other system, what's going on here? And I guess the way I look at it is, if Cadex owned a pizza restaurant and the avatar they were selling pizzas, this system feels like on the side they were like, you know what, does someone want to open up a hamburger stand over here so we can sell hamburgers over there to these customers? That doesn't mean that the pizza shop is shutting down. It's just like, now we sell hamburgers over here. So I feel like some people are getting a little bit upset that these hamburgers, they're not catering to the pizza crowd. And I'm like, well, it's okay. These hamburgers, they're not made for the pizza people. They're like, the hamburgers don't even taste as good as the pizzas. The hamburgers are a cheap option to feed some people who want to come and get some takeaway over here. So that's sort of my analogy for this system. And when you look at the price of it, it's a pretty compelling argument where if I had some friends who were going, if I had some friends, that'd be nice. If I was going to go flying and they said, Stu, I just want something, I'm not into FPV as much as you are. Can I just have a little system that my kid's going to enjoy some FPV in the future? And I think, yeah, this is decent. Like the radios, ELRS, they're going to sell, apparently, the VTX separately in the future. I've got no qualms with this system. I've seen some people saying, hey, you shouldn't buy this because you don't know what this product's going to be like in the future. But you could say that with any product that is released. If a new bit, like let's say hdzero when they released, and you say, hey, we don't know what hdzero is going to be doing in the future, or we don't even know what DJI is going to be doing in the future. I don't think that is a good reason not to buy something. That one just didn't track with me. Happy Fly RC says burgers are for people who can't have pizza, and I'm gonna catch up on the chat here. Johnny DRC is saying I fly Walksnail and I could care less. Yeah, when I say couldn't care less, I mean like maybe that means the same thing. It's like some Australian slang. I couldn't care less what somebody else flies. I just want them to have a good time. It doesn't affect my life. They can do whatever they like. So anyway, I think that's the same sort of word. XJet says, but right now there's no upgrade path. Nothing else works with the TX or goggles. Well, but that's exactly like Bruce. You've got a good point there. If you bought hdzero goggles, well, I guess they do analog, but like no other hdzero products. You need to use hdzero to get the hdzero stuff besides the analog input. I definitely think that. Well, okay, here's another example. When DJI released their very first system and they released the DJI Air unit, we didn't know that there was going to be an upgrade path. It's the same sort of situation, in my opinion, where if you bought your DJI goggles, okay, look, there's the Air unit. Nobody was like, oh, well, what's that going to mean for the future? Are they going to sell that only? Are they going to discontinue that in the future? Is it going to be just in bind and fly? Well, all those things. The thing we do know about this system is that apparently, not just unofficially, there is plans to release the VTX separately. So I am maybe confused, maybe out of touch with the community of the not even the standard, but the double standards that sometimes Cadex, for all their fault, have released a product that I think is pretty good, but we're holding them to a different sort of standard that we have in the past versus some other more mainstream systems. Probably a good example would be like the DJI 03 goggles. I heard not as much complaints about those goggles as like they didn't work with the 03 units. So I don't know, like their last generation. It's almost like that could be a new system, but I didn't hear a lot of people complaining moving forward about that. So I don't know. That's and that's the same sort of system. This one was aimed at a totally different market. So I'm kind of okay with this system. Someone's saying, but you could put your hdzero transmitter in another module, but this is a turnkey system. So if you bust the drone, you can't reuse the bits and the goggles in a different craft. Yeah, but I think I am pretty confident that this Ascent system will release a separate VTX. And then you'd be able to use those goggles with that VTX. If you can't use this VTX in your normal everyday FPV system, I do not like that. I take this all back. Cadex, that is a terrible move. If you release this if you don't give us this VTX Ascent system that we can just plug into our craft and go and fly, that is bad. I don't think Cadex will do that, but we will see. So yeah. Happy Flyer says it's a great budget option, and that's always great for people in the hobby. It's a win-win. Someone's saying that's why I love my Integra goggles. Works with all 3 DJI systems. Let's see what else. Cadex always pulls out all the steps. I'm not too sure what you mean there, to fly FPV, if that's a good thing or a bad thing. And Hale is saying Avatar 2 will be released by the start of the year and all the Walksnail lovers will be happy again. Well, here's the problem. Cadex now, if they've been talking about, will that system, whatever they make, be compatible with the old system? Because now let's talk about actual Walksnail users. They're going to be upset if they say, all right, you want Avatar 2, which people have been really hanging out for. That system, I don't think that will be compatible with the old system. You can't, in like today's technology standards, you can't hold on to a system that is 3-4 years old and then expect that complete backwards compatibility with everything. There is a limit where eventually that old hardware is going to stop the progression and some features of the new system. We probably saw that a little bit with like the DJI O4 Pro units and those sorts of things. XJet says he's upgrading to analog FPV. Man, I'm going to be upgrading to line of sight FPV. So yeah, all right, let's continue. So Walksnail users, this is where a lot of people are saying the development of the Ascent system means that Walksnail is shutting down. I don't think that's the case. Again, I have no information. Why would Cadex make this new system? I think it's just like business sense, like money, and they want to have a cheaper system to get people into the hobby, which I quite like. It's talking about this though. So this is something on the Avatar GT2. Let me show you some pictures that I have. And this was posted recently on Facebook. I've got them saved somewhere on my desktop. And let me just check something right here as well. Okay. Sorry, I was just reading a message about this. They probably know who they are. Let's see. This is the new system. Not new system. Let's have a look at photos. All right. Right here. So this is for people, I guess. And the timing is kind of interesting as well, of like Cadex has released this now. Maybe they're trying to get ahead of the backlash and people are worried about the new Ascent system. And what does that mean? Is that like end of development for the Walksnail system? From everything that I have heard, and this is from a couple of sources, maybe behind the scenes, not from Cadex directly, but they continue to work on the Walksnail avatar system. Now, right here, this is the GT2. I think that's the name that they're going with. There was a post on Facebook a little bit about it, and it said, hey, we've got some, we'd like you to become a tester, blah, 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 blah. You can go ahead and have a look at like Walksnail official. But probably the things to note now that are a little bit different, it has an SD card slot, which like a spring-loaded SD card slot, that's kind of cool. I also like the encased fan. It's using MMCX connectors, and it looks like if you are doing an upgrade, something that I've noted when I've looked at this, and I was seeing if anybody else had discussed this, you don't need a little connection bridging pad when you're going to be doing firmware or updates or anything like that. So that's pretty good to see. Let's see, I've got some other stats here. Maybe I can share some things with you. Low power ceramic antenna removed, 23 millimeters tall, and an extra external UART for gimbal integration. But I think it's going to be the same power, same resolution. So it is exciting that we're still getting some products on the Avatar system. I don't think Avatar's going away. I think there's a lot of people who fly. It'll just be the only reason I could see Avatar going away is if they could no longer have access to the components or materials to continue to make this product. But it looks like this system's getting developed. And also the benefit of having something like the Ascent system side by side. So going back to that pizza hamburger analogy, you could be running a kitchen where someone's cooking pizzas and then you decide to open up a little hamburger stall on the side. Behind the scenes, maybe now you develop a great front-end system that can organize all your customers well. This system that you've made, now we can probably implement that into the hamburgers as well. Or the hamburger staff come up and say, hey, you know what? It'd be so much better if we just got them to put their order here and then they could pick up their food over here. And the pizza guys go, oh, that's a great idea. We're going to use that in our pizza side of the store as well. So the developments that can happen with a system like this sometimes can also be applicable to the other, like another system in the same company. So someone says, what's the weight? I don't know. It's 23 millimeters tall, I think, which is probably about the same size as the original GT. The original GT didn't have this fan case here, though. And what is going to be interesting is if we can remove this, because it's a chunky fan that's on top because it's pumping out a lot of power, trying to really go a long way. So that'll be interesting. And then I don't know what that means in the future for this system. I don't know when it's going to be releasing. It must be pretty close if they're already asking for testing and getting people's thoughts on what they can do, blah, blah, blah. So that's some exciting news for people who are in the CADX side of things and they want to learn about the GT2. Let me just catch up on the chat. Yeah, I don't know what it's going to weigh. Someone's saying, I just want a cheeseburger. And XJet wants one of those on his Tiny Whip. Yeah, they're probably, it would suck down the juice of your battery, let alone wondering what the weight is. All right. So we've spoken about the Ascent system. We've spoken about the CADX Avatar system and had a quick look at the GT2. This is a real look at the future of FPV digitally. And what does that mean? Which system should you get? And ultimately, like, have we reached this little blip of this is as good as it's going to get, and now we're going to have to sort of fight over some scraps, or is there still a lot of room for future and improvement? Now, analog people, you can rejoice. You're going to be safe. You're going to be flying for a long time. There's so much analog gear out there. I think it might increase in price slowly over time as more and more systems shift away from it. The big one, though, and this is where there is no perfect solution, at least for my sort of flying. If you are a pilot, and I'm going to talk specifically about the USA audience here. If you are not USA, take this with a grain of salt. It'll be slightly less applicable. But DJI moving forward in the States is not only it has almost evaporated from the market. Come December, if there's some certain rulings, it might be completely removed. So it's like gone. You consider it that you're not going to be flying any more new DJI products. And that is a really big shame because I think the DJI ecosystem as it stands in terms of the flying that I like to do, which is not cinematic flying, but just like normal FPV flying, like freestyle, like cruising around, flying with my friends, the flying that I am used to, I really, really like the visuals that I get from that system. So if you're in the States, that's bad news. If you are in the rest of the world, you don't have to stress about that so much. You're still going to have an amazing time. You're still, I believe, going to be able to get some DJI gear, have a good time. The other system that I want to talk about is and then we'll loop back and how that affects CADX and Walksnail and the new Ascent system. The next system would be hdzero. Now, hdzero is a great system for people who like low latency. The thing that I don't personally like about flying hdzero it's just the image. I feel so spoiled in terms of image quality from flying around DJI and from even things like the Cadex that when I try to fly hdzero, it's not good. It's fine on a Whoopcraft because that might be what, that's all I can expect. I'm not expecting too much. But if I had to fly around a 5-inch freestyle quad that was analog or was hdzero, I would constantly be missing what I know a DJI or a Walksnail quad could be like. So that is my biggest qualm with hdzero, that the image just kind of sucks in comparison to the other digital systems out there. Now, if you're into racing though, you can give two hoots about what it actually looks like. You'll fly through mud as long as you can see and have the fastest response. So if you're a hdzero pilot and you like racing, you are golden. I don't think anything's going to, besides it's like the most expensive goggle, but if you don't worry about price and you just want to have low latency, I think hdzero is going to be around for a long time. I don't know what their upgrade path looks like in the future. There was like pros and cons when they did the Goggle 1 versus the Goggle 2. A lot of people are upset that this is just a more expensive goggle that has fixed a few things and felt shafted because they'd bought the Goggles 1. And I knew some people who were stoked about it. I knew some racing pilots who already had a set of hdzero 1 goggles, and they're like, I'm going to go buy a new set, like because I think it was the dust filters. And for them, spending that, or like stopping the dust getting behind the lenses, which was a problem with the original hdzeros, apparently, that was a big difference for them. So they were going to go and do that because they cared about winning races and it wasn't about the money for them. So they were happy to drop another grand to buy a new set of goggles. Like, that's the racing hdzero pilots are a very different breed of FPV than what I would believe is the everyday sort of pilots. And then, so yeah, hdzero, I don't think they're going to be going anywhere. Unfortunately, though, for what I believe is most pilots, the problem with that system is just the visuals. It just doesn't look anywhere near as good as the other systems out there. So if you would like to, I guess maybe I'm just talking for myself. I wouldn't be buying because I like the sport visuals of, say, DJI. Now, this is where Cadex has filled a really nice niche where it's not quite as good as DJI. Let's say DJI 04 is a 10. I would put Walksnail at like 8.5, and I would put hdzero at like maybe 5, and I'd put analog at about a 4. Now, I'm gonna read that super chat in just a minute. I'm just gonna get through this little bit. Thank you very much. But Walksnail, they're available. You can buy them. They've got good image quality. They've got a big range of VTXs that suit a whole bunch of different needs, from really small craft to really like the GTs. And it looks like there is going to be a GT2 moving forward, I think. And they've also got some cheap options when it comes to getting a pair of goggles, is like 199 USD, which is the Walksnail goggles are, which are almost identical looking to these. They're just the white version of these. So that's something that I think is going to get a lot of people flying. The part where, and this is people have some real questions now, they say, well, I've seen the Ascent system is also coming out from Cadex. Should I be worried that that's end of life for my system if I got that? I don't know. I can't answer that question. I don't know what Cadex is going to do in the future. And the system is a little bit old as well. So I don't know how long, like three years we've been flying around, 3-4 years of the Cadex Walksnail system. So at some point, there is going to need, if they release a brand new system, which is going to be superior in terms of performance, how compatible that's going to be, we're going to have to see. So that's going to be interesting. And then on the flip side, they are now developing the Ascent system, which there's speculation as to why they do that. I think they're doing it because of money. Like, it makes sense, a cheap product to get people flying. Like, that's what they want people to be in their ecosystem. So they're releasing like they see probably the market of, oh, we would like a product that can be on the shelves like the DJI Neo or whatever some of those little turnkey solutions are that we can go and fly. That's what Cadex is probably wanting to do. That system is not designed for us everyday FPV pilots. It is designed for new people coming into the hobby who would like to dabble in FPV. And then finally, what should you do with all that information? Like, there's no perfect solution. If DJI wasn't evaporating from the US market, that would be easy to say, hey, go and get this one. But with all those others, there's no perfect solution. We have a crystal ball. We can tell the future of what's going to happen. So yeah, that's it's time will tell. Let's see what other people are saying. I do want to just read this super chat. He's saying, founder of Drone Design International, an Italian startup. We have Aqualink, a drone safety device for water, seeking investors. Any advice for us? In terms of like seeking investors, I would just be emailing firms and emailing people. Like it's depends who do you want to see it. Like there's people like myself who we're the audience that YouTubers share it with are probably not going to be the people who are investing in these things. I think if you would be, I would contact, I don't know too much about this stuff, but I would be contacting like authorities and education departments and saying, hey, are you interested in this? Or like some venture capital groups. That would be my advice there. Drone Design International and Italian startup. We develop Aqualink, a drone safety device for water. Yeah. Thank you very much for the super chat there, Perry. I feel like I don't have. Does anybody else have any advice for how to seek investors and probably have a really strong proof of concept before you go anywhere? Don't just go somewhere with an idea. People have ideas all the time. What they want to actually see is it working, and then probably is it turning a profit or is it making some income? I think that's really important as well. If you want people to invest in your business, at least show them that you are on the way to recuperating some of their costs. All right. I'm going to catch up on these chats, and then I wanted to show you the Mario Mini 25. I can't believe it's 10:40 as well. My time, that's Australian time. I always fly a DJI, no matter what lengths I have to get to. I refuse to give up my favorite parts of the hobby because some politicians, ignorant politicians, think they can control us. Yeah, that's if you can get DJI products, like that's the hard part is how tricky it's going to be. You can buy a lot of things that you can't buy in a standard shop, no matter where you are. It's just what lengths do you want to go to get those goods. Leader says I use a get a back pod for my drone flying over water. I get my investment back if it goes down in the water. Okay. Avatar will continue to be produced. That's from Shannon Baker. Yeah, I feel like that is the case. They will continue as parallel solutions. And Benny is saying he's still on his DJI V1s and analogs. And this is probably a really important part as well. If you have gear already, these new systems don't change too much for you. Just because this has been released, it shouldn't totally change how you feel about the current system that you are flying. It is not about having the best gear, it's about having the best time. And as it stands, all the information that I can see looks like, oh, we just want people to be flying. So we're getting some comments here saying they're still going to be produced. And they wouldn't stop willingly if there's money on the table. Like from a company side of things, no one just says, oh, you know that huge market base that we've created with all our pilots and our goggles, should we just stop making VTXs? We don't want to sell to them anymore. Like no company's ever going to say that. Okay. Dell for life. I agree. Both systems remain separate, and they are two different systems. They'll reach different users. Yeah. All right. Let's have a look at this. This I'm quite interested in actually, but I don't know why I can't see it on the actual SpeedyBee website. So this is the Mario Mini 25, and if I jump over here, I've tried to search for it. We've got the Mario 5-inch. Cool little drone. However, have a look at this. I don't know why I can't find this drone here. So this is the Mario Mini 25, and it looks kind of cool. I don't know. It's again going to that almost closed modular system. We are moving more and more away from our drones with wires hanging off them everywhere. Let's have a look here. There's the little integrated shell. I don't even think it's a carbon. I don't think there's any carbon here. This looks like it's getting wild, like the prop guards and everything. You can get a version, 140 bucks. I don't know what this is with tariffs and everything. I've got this shipping to the USA logged in here because I struggle to get products shipped from Banggood to Australia. I don't know what that is. There's like some limitation there, specifically from this website. But yeah, I kind of dig it a little bit actually. And then we've got a difference between the Pro. This is the Pro version from the camera, and then this is just the standard 04 Lite version. Now, what's interesting, okay, this is the 04 Air unit. You click on this, it's a little bit, not misleading, but that's not in the picture. That's the Pro version, even though this, please select, I'm selecting that one. Whereas this, that's the light. I'm going to call it the light. It's easier to notice. I wonder if they've got an extra shell or a heatsink VTX over the top. A heatsink over the top of the VTX, because that is not the standard DJI light board right there. That's kind of cool if they do. If they are selling this and they're putting on a custom heatsink to get rid of, you know, to dissipate some of that heat on the light version, I'm all for that. I think that's good. I don't know, would you buy it though? $270, $280, and then the Pro version. Ooh, gee, that's such a big price difference, isn't it? But yeah, I really like it. I think I want to fly this thing around. And can we just buy the frame itself? I don't know if you can buy the frame. I don't know why SpeedyBee. I can't find anything about it on the Mario one. Apparently they aren't selling it OS at the moment themselves. I don't know what OS means there. Looks like the flywheel aluminium on there. Johnny DRC is saying too expensive. This is also probably a really good point as well. The price of drones nowadays, a lot of people look at it and say, oh, that's far too expensive, but you have to remember what the video system costs here and add that in. So this here, it's 140 US dollars plus whatever video system you want to have. And that's where some people can, like, I guess their eyes can explode. And when 440 US dollars now, because we put the DJI 04 Air unit in there. So what is, keeps making like a little bell noise down there. All right. Is the DJI 4 Pro, I don't think it's a light. Yeah, no, I'm talking about this image here. Absolutely is. You can tell from the camera here that that's the light camera in the front right there. To fly FPV. However, yeah, I don't know why it's not here. Who knows? So that's something else we'll have to follow up. All right, let's move on. I actually want to do a little bit of diagnostics with you guys as well, because I think this is going to help a lot of people in FPV. If you've got any questions as well, or you've got anything that you want me to check out, please throw it in the chat down below. I'm looking at the time. I don't want to miss anybody. If there's something that you want, different versions for sale. Yeah, there is. There's two different versions. You could get the light version of the Mario Mini or the new version. It's interesting too, like which quad should you get nowadays? I don't recommend a 5-inch. I think 5 inches are no longer the standard that you should get. I would not go flying in today's public parks like I used to with my 5-inch craft. Yes, it's a little bit sad, but that is just the world that we live in. There's a lot of fear about drones, and specifically FPV drones. And I think taking over the park, like we used to never fly near people anyway, but like setting up in some fields, like some race tracks and race gates, I don't know if I would recommend to do that anymore. I feel much more confident to taking something like the Lightning V2, which is a tiny little 2-inch craft, and I'm still going to go and have that amazing time, and it's not going to be upsetting people. So that's maybe a little bit of wisdom as I've gotten older here. I think 5 inches are no longer my recommendation for somebody coming into the hobby, unless you're doing racing, of course, or you've got your own private property to fly on. But the days of going to the park, setting up race gates and ripping around and practicing, I think I think, at least in this country, those don't exist anymore. Spurn is saying, did you look at the hdzero P plug and play version of the Mario 5, or am I meant to be looking at a different drone right here? I'll have a look right now. Is this from Spider Cinematics? That's this drone right here. All right, let's have a look. What do I think about this? I hate how I don't like this zooming in feature. Here we go. This is probably a better one to look at right here. What do I think about this? I actually worry that in a crash, these carbon bumpers are going to break. Maybe scratch some things as well if this is meant to be a filming craft. Yeah, I don't know. It looks very similar to a lot of other things like the GoFly 20, which is a CADX one. The Eagle, I think from YMZ FPV. There is some similar ones from them as well. Oasis Fly, there's one. So this looks just very similar. What makes it special? That's probably what I'm trying to figure out. Unless this top cage completely removes easily, that would be one thing. You'd be like, oh, okay. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's doing anything too special. If you look at the price here, $350. I wonder what that is. Does it come with an 04 Pro? 150 grams. Okay, the frame's $50. Frame's fine. That price looks like a lot. It's a cinematic rig, but it flies like nothing I've ever tried. Okay, tell me why that is, Spiruni. What is this doing, and what else have you tried that's a similar styles? It's like a VTX with props. Yes. I wish companies for me though, like these sorts of websites drive me crazy that I have to do. I just want to see the product and a list of specifications. Let's see. I don't know if Anthony's. I'm just trying to catch up with his chat. That's what happened to GGH Pilots 2. Always a new system. He might have started the stream a little bit late. I'm not too sure where he's at there. And Happy Flight SC says, I've been having a blast with my Beta FPV Meteor 65 Pro. It's 37 grams and looks like a toy. I love those small form factor craft. I just want digital on there, whether that be walks. I just want some nice visuals. I guess that's what I mean. So I will fly the smallest craft that I can while still having, relatively okay flight times. And you could probably build a tiny craft that has an 04 Pro on there, but you get like 30 seconds of flight time. I will have the smallest craft that I can fly while still having a relatively standard flight experience in terms of flight times and craft size. So, yeah. And then Anthony says, I've tossed up between DJI and Walksnail for months. Took DJI 3 months later, new goggles and new VTX system. If you got the goggles 3 though, they should still work with the current generation. And hopefully you are not in the States. If you are, my condolences right there. Sprinty says he hasn't broken one of these ducks yet. All right. This is something I need your help here because I feel like this is a big mistake for new pilots coming into the hobby. They see these drones, they fly it and like, I can't wait to do this. They give it a go and they think something is wrong with their drone. And you and I also have this problem where when we watch DVR or when we are getting that visual, we're specifically talking about analog because a lot of us started on analog. We think this sucks, but we get used to it and we fly through it. And it's like you don't see the errors and all the static and everything. So I just want to show something on the screen in a minute, which is going to make it pretty clear. Maybe it's like a kid yelling at their dad, 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 dad. And the dad's like oblivious, just like focused, doing whatever he's doing. It's like, yeah, yeah, yeah. Whereas other people be like, that kid is like really carrying on here. Somebody please do something. It's a little bit similar to that. So let me show you this DVR and you tell me if you think this is normal. And this is just some random DVR. I saw it on Reddit and I was like, this is a good example. Like, I think the cat comes out to play here. However, this is some analog and you'll notice this is all completely acceptable. Like getting a little bit of breakup, sometimes like those gray flickers and everything. I think the cat comes over, has a bit of a look. Maybe there's a small bit of Wi-Fi interference, but you'll notice it more when it starts flying around. Okay, we're off to the races, and that's probably a little bit too much, that blue flickering there. However, like this sort of footage here and this, ooh. And actually now I'm sort of starting to second guess this because this is like, I thought this would be good DVR footage. Maybe can someone send me some DVR footage, please? Post it on DIY-FPV. But yeah, like around here, these little flickers and little bits of breakup are completely normal in your FPV feed. The most important thing you can do is make sure you're on the same frequency. So if it's 50, what does it show it on this one? It doesn't, but if it's 5800, make sure your frequency is set on 5800 in your goggles and also on your drone. So this breakup that we're seeing where the cat is, you know, having a sniff, playing around, having fun with the drone, you can expect that on a lot of your analog drones. It doesn't mean that it's broken, but you have to understand you are not going to get a perfect signal. You need to like, and you can ask somebody else and be like, that looks totally fine. And well, why don't they talk about this? You think to yourself as a new pilot, why don't they ever mention this? It's just, you start to ignore that. When you are flying through that in the goggles, your brain almost like it magically fills in those gaps. You no longer see that distortion so much. Now the blue flickering, I will admit, like there's a frame here somewhere. Let's see if we can pause on it. That's not normal. That is probably on a lower thing of goggles, like a lower quality goggle. We used to get like some blue screens of death when we'd lose our DVR back like almost a decade ago now. But yeah, your everyday sort of that sort of flickering. Let's see if we can pause with some on the screen like this down the bottom. Fine. That is normal operation. Someone says my DVR is never as clean as my goggle view. Yes, there is analog footage on DIY-FPV. I just posted it. All right, let's have a look. I'm trying to find. Oh, music. There we go. Don't want music. Everything looks like it's posted non. I've got a few to get through, but they all look like they're digital. If you want to send me a link to that post. Oh, here we go. And it's a short. If it's this one. I wonder if we'll get some Scraggle. Oh, looks like the that Eye of Saruman. That's not standard. But yeah, jumping over here. You can expect your DVR to probably be worse, but you are going to get breakup. If you're a brand new pilot and you're getting, especially like a cheap system, You're going to get breakup. You're going to get interference. It is standard operation of an analog drone. So I just want to make that clear. I've seen a lot of videos where people post them and saying, is something wrong with my DVR? Probably not. Probably not. As long as it's on the right channel, then on both the goggles and the drone, you're going to have a good time. All right. I'm rambling. I'm looking at the time. I wanted to talk a little bit about my printer, but we're probably going to move on from that because the most important thing about this stream, though, I don't know if I mentioned it, but did you know that the most important thing about this stream, it's actually you watching this right now? Yeah, oh, you can't be talking. I'm serious. And I would just like to reach out to anybody out there to let them know, look, maybe somebody hasn't told you this today, but you do deserve to be told it, that you are valued. You are cared about, you are unique, and I'm so grateful for you being here. And thank you. You deserve to have an amazing time, an amazing life. I'm proud of you for being here. And if maybe this doesn't resonate with everybody, but just one person needs to hear this, that you don't have to suffer by yourself. If you are feeling anxious or depressed, that's not how life should be. I know because I've been like that in the past. Thankfully, I'm in a much better place now, and it's not weak to speak. Please go and speak to somebody. The best time to do that would have been before now, but the second best time to do that is today. So this might just be that message out there to let somebody know that, yeah, today might be the day, and you should do it because you are cared about, you are unique, you are special, and I'm so grateful that you are here. So I just want to make that really clear. I know we talk about drones a lot, but mental health, and you guys really are the most important things. You listening to this with your ears, maybe a little smile thing, and you can't be taught. I am. 100% I am talking about you. You are valued. So thank you. Thank you for being here. All right. Let's see. That will do it, ladies and gentlemen. I will have some more videos coming out soon. Make sure you subscribe. If you would like to become an amazing member and help support UAV Futures and what we do here on the channel, as well as building DIY FPV, you can just click that little join button down below. It makes a huge difference. Without you guys, I wouldn't be able to do this. It is harder than ever to have a career on YouTube. So if you are one of the people that supports, thank you very much. Or if you're one of the people that say, hey, you know what? I do watch a lot of these streams. I do watch a lot of your videos. And that website, DIY that you've built, is amazing. I would like to help take that to the stratosphere and get more and more people flying. That little join button should be down there as well. And as a bonus, there's like some members only videos you get to watch from it. You get a cool like little green name, some emojis, all those sorts of things. So anyway, go and check that out. And as always, I will see you in the next video and next week. So whatever this is, daylight savings time, if you've changed your clocks forwards or backwards, whatever's going on, it's like my time is going, I'm going to be finishing this time in a week's time. So I started an hour ago. That is Monday, 10 o'clock for Australian viewers in Queensland. All right. I will catch you guys soon. Happy flying.